Welcome to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. Quick, actionable tips to master personal finance and real estate investing. In just 5 minutes a day, we'll help you build wealth and achieve financial freedom. Hey, Prime investors, Martin Maxwell here. Welcome back to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. You won. In a tight market, you beat 3 other offers on the house you love. You went 10 grand over asking to do it. And for 2 weeks, you've been picking out paint. Then the appraisal lands, and it comes in $20,000 under what you agreed to pay. Here's a moment almost every first-time buyer hits and almost nobody sees coming. You did everything right. You won the bidding war. And now, a stranger with a clipboard has just told you the house is worth less than you promised to pay for it. So let's put you right in it, because the next move is worth real money. The setup. You're under contract at $385. That's the $375 list, plus the 10 grand you went over to win. You're pre-approved, your earnest money's down. Then the appraisal report comes back. $365. 20,000 under. And here's the part that turns a number into a problem. Your lender lends on the lower of 2 numbers, the appraisal or your contract price, never the higher. So the bank will finance $365, not $385. Which means to close at the price you agreed, you cover that $20,000 gap in cash on top of your down payment. Let me make that concrete because it's bigger than it sounds. Say you were putting 10% down. You budgeted around $38,000, 10% of $385. But the bank now sizes everything off the appraised $365. 10% down on that is $36,500. And then the full $20,000 gap lands on top in cash. Add it up. You need about $56,500 at the closing table when you walked in expecting $38,000. That's the surprise nobody warns a first-time buyer about. The good news? You kept your appraisal contingency. So you've actually got 4 doors, not 1. The seller's agent is already texting you. Appraisals are conservative right now. We're still good, right? So, 3 real moves. Door 1, pay the 20 grand in cash and close. Door 2, renegotiate. Ask the seller to come down to the appraised value or walk on your contingency. Door 3, challenge the appraisal itself. Hit pause right there. Which door? Say it out loud. Then come back and we'll walk all 3. Okay, here's how I'd think about it. Start with what that appraisal actually is, because right now it feels like a wall, and it's really a gift. It's the market's second opinion from the one person in this whole deal with no skin in your bidding war. You wanted the house, the seller wanted the price, the appraiser wanted neither, and they said $365. That number is not your enemy. It's the most honest thing anyone's told you all month. Why does it matter so much? Because $365 is, roughly, the number the next buyer's lender lands on too. So if you pay that $20,000 gap, you're not just spending 20 grand. You're paying 20 grand over what the market says it's worth. And the only way you get it back is for the market to rise, just to put you back at even. You'd start day 1, 20,000 underwater on paper. That one stings. And let me name the feeling, because that's the dangerous part. You're not just staring at a number, you're staring at the house you already moved into in your head. You picked the paint, you know exactly where the couch goes. Walking away doesn't feel like dodging a bad deal, it feels like a loss. That's the trap. The appraiser isn't taking anything from you. They're handing you the one cold fact in a process built entirely on want. So, door 2, renegotiating, is the strongest play in most of today's market. That appraisal just handed you a card you didn't have an hour ago. Think about it from the seller's side for a second. If they let you walk and relist, the next buyer's appraisal almost certainly comes back at the same $365. And now their house wears a fell out of contract stink that scares off the next round. So, come down to the appraisal isn't a lowball. It's just reality. And a smart seller knows it. Ask them to come down to $365. If they're stubborn, offer to split it. You each eat 10 of the 20. That's a fair fight, and you're still in for half of what door 1 costs. And if they won't budge an inch, your contingency lets you walk with your earnest money intact. You didn't lose the house. You dodged overpaying for it. Door 3, challenging it, is worth a shot, but only with evidence. If that appraiser used comps from 6 months ago or missed 2 better sales on the very same street, you can file what's called a reconsideration of value. It's a real, standardized process now. But hear me, it is not a do-over because you didn't like the number. No new comps, no new value. Bring receipts or don't bother. And what does a receipt look like? 2 homes on your street, same beds, same baths, that closed last month at $380. Sales the appraiser skipped in favor of comps from across the highway. That is a real case. I just think it's worth more is not. And door 1, paying the gap, is the narrowest case of all. It can be right in a genuinely cutthroat pocket where the house truly would resell over the appraisal to someone else in days, and you've got the cash without draining the reserves you'll need when the furnace dies in February. And watch a second trap here. If you cover the gap by shrinking your down payment, you can slip under 20% equity and trigger PMI, mortgage insurance, a monthly charge you never signed up for. So, I have the cash isn't the whole question. It's whether you have the cash and a cushion and still clear 20% down. On a deal you already stretched to win, that's a tall order. Outside of that, paying the gap is usually the sunk cost trap talking. You won, so walking away feels like losing, but you haven't lost a thing. That's exactly what the contingency is for. Here's your challenge. Before you ever write an offer, find one line in your contract, the appraisal contingency. Know whether it's in there. Because in a frenzy, agents will ask you to waive it, and that little clause is the only thing standing between you and a forced $20,000 decision. If it's there, you have all 4 doors. If you waived it, you have 1. And here's the through line. Remember the agent who wants you to bid tonight, over asking, contingencies waived, just to win? That's how you win the house in a tight market. This is the bill that can come due. The buyer who reads the market before they offer rarely ends up staring at a gap like this. And on the rare day they do, they kept the one clause that hands them every door, instead of just the expensive one. The appraisal is the coldest number in the whole process. And right when you most want to ignore it is exactly when you should listen. Numbers decide, not how badly you want the keys. The full write-up, all 3 doors side by side with the math, is linked right there in the show notes. Go read it before you're the one staring at a low appraisal. I'm Martin Maxwell. This has been the 5 Minute Prime Podcast. I'll see you next episode.